It's card number 157 from the 1953 Bowman color set. It's Sherman Lawler from those Chicago White Sox. And this is appropriate. We've got a Sherman Lawler fan that'll be a guest tonight. Got the ball wedged into his mitt there. Let's look at the back of the card here. Sherman appeared in 132 games for the White Sox during the 52 season, and his batting average was .240. His hits included 15 doubles and 13 homers. Sherman formerly was on the roster of the Cleveland Indians, the Yankees, and the Browns. He began in 1943 with Baltimore, and he came to the Sox in November of 51. It must be 157, session number 157. If it's card 157 of Card Room Live, that means, including this one, guys, we've only got 4 left, which is kind of crazy. How did that happen? It's Card Room Live. No, it's not a show, if you can't tell already. It is, however, a hangout for fellow vintage collectors. Sometimes we have guests like tonight. Sometimes we don't. But whether we have guests or not, we're always trying to find ways to waste time looking at and talking about old cardboard, and through it all, we try our best to make it time well wasted, and we've done just that for nearly 5 years now. If you're here with us live, welcome to you. Welcome to my fellow YouTubers, to the commenters, to the folks from all over social media land. And if you're here and you're new, don't be afraid to say hello. This is the live stream where everybody knows your name. Sure, we may not know it yet, but give us a few tries. We'll learn it soon enough. If you're listening to this later, you might be doing some of these following things. Maybe you're going back to work after a long holiday season. Perhaps you're coming home from work. Maybe you're sorting cards, looking at eBay, auction sites, rolling out meatballs, walking dogs, sitting on the john, putting the kids to bed, battling raccoons in the backyard. I'm not even going to say it. Wondering what other kind of Mike Fuller we're going to get into tonight. Whatever you might be doing, I do hope you get something out of the next hour. If you have ideas for future sessions, or you just want to get in touch, or you want to nominate yourself or another collector to be on a future session of Card Room Live, you can always email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, bowman53_Alex, on X, 1953 Bowman color, on Blue Sky, Bowman53. And of course, all that information can be found in the description below. This session of Card Room Live is brought to you by Fatima Cigarettes. Frequently, you'll hear a man say, if Fatimas were only sold at 15 cents, everybody would smoke them. I know I say that almost every day. No doubt it's true, but it's easier said than done, because without the finer tobacco, the subtle delicacy made possible by just a few cents more, Fatima would not be Fatima. That's right, Fatima Cigarettes. What a world of difference just a few cents can make. And you might also get a baseball card out of it. And just a public service announcement, Card Room Live does not endorse smoking. However, we do endorse pre-war. So happy 2026 to everybody. I stumbled my way through that intro. You'd think after 150 some of these, I'd have it down. Phillies baseball cards is first tonight. Welcome to you. Athletics Bowman 25 is here. Welcome to you. White Sox fan card collector Mitchell is here. A wrench holder Ranger Studios is here. Nick, brand new channel, is here. Welcome to you, Nick. Jacob is here. Mr. Rick Acosta, Dodger card collector, is here. Part 2 is just about to start. Glad you're here, Rick. The Dog Ate My Card is here. Yes, you found the right place, Andy. Good to see you here. Blue Collar Cards is here. You can watch this later. That's the good news. Another wrench holder, Mike, the Sports History Collector, is here. Hello and Happy New Year to you, sir. Peacemaker Cards is here. Melissa, the Sports Guru, is here. Sven Patrick, another wrench holder, Stuke, is here. Mookie Chilson is here. Mookie, do you have any trivia for us? Confluence Sports Cards is here. Mr. Drew Clean Cheap Shots, another wrench holder, Mr. Don from Don's Field of Dreams Cards, is here. Jayhawker Vintage Cards is here. Reindeer Studios has some feelings about Sherm Lawler. Who else is here? Mike is here. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody. Spartan Card Collector is here. Mark Hoyle, Peter B., Dom from Staven Sports Cards, Peeps Wax Packs, Killabrew 3 Collector, Steven with the PH, Mike Good, Mr. Yanks Me Cards Steve is here, and Hodges is here, and Mr. 3D 80s Kid is here. Does the show doesn't keep going into the black and white cards? I don't know. Nobody knows, John. Nobody knows what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. Phil Necro is here. The fan, not actually Phil Necro. Orlando, A Collector's Dream, is here. Coach Neil is here. The Card Story, Carlisle, Rude, Nina S making an appearance. Good to see you, Nina. And even Max is here. Lou Rock is here, so we can actually start. All right. We got a bar full of fantastic collectors and YouTubers and social media folks. Let's bring in our panel. We're going to do a part 2 from last weekend. Here they are, rapid fire. Drew is here. Jason is here. Jeff is here. And Mike is here. Here they all are. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Very good.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Excellent. So I think this went really well last time. It was a lot of fun. I had a handful of questions prepared. We only got through a couple of them, and there were a lot of good questions that came out of the chat as well as just from within this group. And we're going to get into it a little bit more tonight because there's more to talk about. So if you missed it last time, I had these guys on. We were talking about what it takes to run a YouTube channel. What are the things that go into making videos? What are the things to sort of watch out for? What are we all doing this for? All sorts of different topics. And we're going to kind of pick up with that and run with it tonight. I've got some questions, but you guys are welcome to bring up topics too. And I'm going to keep my eye on the chat. And if any interesting questions or thoughts come up from the chat, we're going to include those as well. So I'm going to throw this question out, and whoever wants to jump on it, feel free to do so. I asked this question last time, and Drew answered it, and I can't remember if other people did or not. So Jason, Jeff, Mike, do you guys have any personal rules or mantras or like things that you definitely try to do or try not to do when it comes to running your channel, whether it's about how you make videos or how often or the types of videos you like to make or that you don't want to make, anything of that nature? Do you have any sort of personal approach that you can share?
Yeah, I do. I have a few. You guys want me to start? You want me to
Go
start?
for it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's pretty broad and pretty simple. First and foremost, I don't want to make it a job. This is part of my hobby. So my production end of things is very low. It's just I don't really plan out too much in advance. I turn it on, hit record and go. So the number one goal is don't make it a job. Keep it fun. The minute it's no longer fun, I might have to stop doing it, right? That's the whole point. It's part of my hobby as well as collecting, every bit as much as collecting. The other thing is I just try to keep it fun. I'm not a hobby news guy. I don't bring a lot of news to the table. You're not going to get a lot of in-depth news coverage from my channel. It's just going to be about collecting. I may dive into sets, I may dive into players, but for the most part, I'm showing cards and I've mixed it up. I've done interviews recently that I'm going to jump back to doing what I was calling Hobby Spotlight, trying to introduce others into the community as well, who might not be as well known or people who are, totally new to the community. And then I do a lot of collaborating. For all of those who know or don't know, they may know I'm on a lot of lives.
Yeah.
I've taken Donnie Livestream's title from him, although he'll claim I didn't. But I like to collaborate. That's the fun of it, right? The community and the friendships, and that's what it is. I just refuse to collaborate with Scott from Reindeer Studios. That's the only guy. Actually,
yeah.
In all honesty, Scott was the very first person I collaborated with. So he reached out to me, so he's the best.
Yeah, I Drew, if you don't mind, Jason. I mean, I'm very similar as you, right? I mean, I have probably I've probably gotten to a rhythm where I'm editing a little bit too much, right? But I think for like this coming year, I'm gonna dial that editing back, right? It's been a lot of fun. Like I've never edited in my life before I got onto YouTube. And then as my videos have progressed, I've started editing more and I've had a lot of fun with it. But to a certain extent, it does start feeling like a job, right? Like, you come and create a video, and instead of just putting it out there, you have to go back to the computer and you got to add your intro, and I have to make a second screen to my intro. And then, you go through the video and try to add little things, but it has become to be a lot. And so I think I'm going to go back to keeping it very simple, right? I'm kind of creating a new intro where at the beginning of every video, it's going to be the same. I don't have to do anything additional with it. And I'm going to stop probably putting all the little tweaks and things into my video. So I'm with you there. And, Alex, to your point, it's like, I just like to keep, I don't like to do a lot of editing as far as me talking, right? I don't like to do a lot of editing with me talking, right? It's like, I might start a video a few times and turn it off, but once I'm like a minute in and I'm going, I just continue, right? Whether I mess up or whatever, I just keep going,
Sure.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really it for me, just going back to trying to keep it as simple as possible, not getting crazy with editing, and just having fun with it, just making sure it's consistently fun and it doesn't feel like a job. So I agree with Jason there 100%.
Right. Let's see, and this is again open to anybody that wants to jump in. What's a YouTube trend? Maybe it's like, and this is maybe like a community thing. What's a YouTube trend that has died down of late that you've noticed and that you wish would kind of come back? Are there any trends like that have sort of like disappeared, or there's like less of certain kinds of videos?
Mike, you want to roll, or Drew?
Well, I'll tell you the trend that started and is just going gangbusters is this, right? I mean,
yeah, right.
Collab stuff is all the rage, and it should be, because of what Jason said, when it's way more fun to do videos with other people than by yourself. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, I wish more people showed how they store their stuff, talk more practical stuff, right? Like, here's how I put a set in a binder, and it sounds boring and sounds cliche, but I love watching card room tours. And I mean, back in the day, that was all people did, back in the day. I sound like I'm an old man. I am an old man, but and everybody was a hand model back then. Nobody had, I mean, if you looked like Jeff and had the hair, you could pull, nobody would have been a hand model, but the rest of us, geezer dudes, normally, and that kind of changed. And then I'm trying to think of what used to be done that's not being done anymore. But I just think more of the practical stuff. But it's kind of like, I look back at I could go back, I've done, 1,800 videos. I could go start over and nobody would have watched it, and I could like literally start over with topics, because I always try to come up with a topic. I'm like, oh, I did that. And then I look at when I did it, it was like 4 years ago. Like nobody, even if you watched it, you don't remember it. And B, nobody goes back and watch. I mean, it's one thing if you're a new channel, like when Jeff started, I went back and watched, all 8 of his videos or whatever was there. That's okay. That's doable. If somebody discovers my channel, good luck. I mean, you could just, you'll be dead in your casket, watching my last video or whatever. And so I think it's okay I'm going to start kind of revisiting some topics that I feel, I've covered that, or I've talked about that. If it was more than 3 or 4 years ago, it's probably okay to revisit, Right. I'm going to grab another set because I'm bindering one.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Anybody else?
2013 Topps Heritage.
So, so as far as, I don't want to, Drew, if you got anything, you go ahead. But for me, I haven't been on here long enough, but I mean, I've been watching YouTube videos since probably 2011, right? 2012. And one thing I remember seeing a lot of was a lot of like care package videos. And I know it still happens, right? I know it definitely still happens. But I feel like I used to see a lot more of it. And, who knows? Probably because nowadays you can't get away with sending a bubble mailer out for less than $8, right? It's like, not that $8 is a lot of money, right? But if you're wanting to send out to a bunch of people, it adds up. I remember, when I used to send things out, eBay, or when I'd sell things like that, it'd be like $3-4 to send a bubble mailer. Now it's $8.50 or whatever it is. But I used to see a lot of that, and I think I see a lot less of that. But that's really the only thing, because I only really watch collecting channels anyway. The channels I watch are the guys that are showing their collections, and that's all I've really ever watched. So I still feel like I see obviously a ton of that, right? So probably the care package thing would be the thing that I see a little bit less of, that I feel like I used to see a lot more of.
Right. Let's see. Let's talk about comments for a second. I think I asked you guys, like, what's the worst comment you ever got or the best comment? You don't necessarily have to share those unless you have them, handy. But I'm curious to talk about comments and, when you've gotten less than ideal comments and that sort of thing.
What?
You might have something to share about that, Mike. Yeah.
People are great out there.
Well, I'll start with this. So,
Yeah.
because I like this question, and you had in your list, you said the greatest or most surprising question, and then some of the negative ones. And
Yeah.
so I'll start with a negative one, and I actually got a number of them on the same video. So about almost 2.5 years ago, I did a room tour video, and it is by far my most watched video. It's up almost 21,000 views. It's still every single week, because I put one out a week. It's my number 2 watched video every week, between the one I just put out and then
Sure.
that one. And every day I get 15, 20 views a day. And I'm like, my room doesn't even look like that anymore, but still. But and the people who know me and have seen my stuff or watched my stuff, they know where I am with collecting and why I collect what I collect, and they know me more on a personal basis. But the people who are just clicking on because whatever reason that video is riding the algorithm, they have no idea who I am. And when I start the video, I start on one end of my room, and I have all my cards are on display. And when I started, the way my cards are displayed are chronologically. So when I started, just because of where I started in the room, I started in the most recent cards and moved backwards. So the first cards you see now, all the cards I have in display are personal to me. Everyone has a story. So they're not necessarily high value, rare, hard to find, or anything.
I can feel where this is going.
I'm typically I collect raw. I mean, I'm not against graded, but I'm not going to pay extra for it. It's just who I am and how I collect. And so, but the very first cards are like, all of my, well, not all, but it's like all my 89 Upper Deck rookies. Well, if you got the Griffey, that's one thing, but Randy Johnson and Edgar Martin, I'm looking at that rack as I'm saying this. The negative comments of, you can get that for only $2. What a crappy collection. Why would you waste time showing this? And I've probably had, I don't know, a half a dozen comments, which isn't a lot, but I don't get typically a lot of negative comments, but like laughing at me, in the comments about why would I be such a dope to display this card? And I'm like, well, it's because I actually got to see these guys play, and that made a big difference because I didn't go to a ton of games or whatever the reason is, or so-and-so gave me this card.
Carl from Australia is calling me. Why isn't he on this stream? Hang on. I'll be right back.
But anyway, that's the one that I've gotten most, and it's not a ton. I haven't gotten really any terrible negative, but that's the one that sticks out because it just shows me that, when we make a video, when we stick it out there, we're assuming that people want to see me or want to watch or want to know me or already know me, and there's a connection like we have in this group. The people watching this right now are in the screen, but there's so many people who are just randomly clicking on stuff, and why they feel the necessary to, I got to write something crappy to this person and then swipe off. I don't get that. Just swipe off. I don't care. So that's the one negative thing, and it's just it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's more like you just don't. Why are you doing this? Like I don't get it. But
Right.
switching to the positive comments, so I did a video a couple of years ago now about a connection I had outside of baseball cards to an old player who I'll say his name and you guys might recognize him. He played in the 50s and into the early 60s. His name is Wilmer Mizell, Vinegar Ben Mizell. So if you've ever heard of him, he played for the Cardinals mainly in the 50s, and then he ended up in for a couple of years with Pittsburgh, and then he finished his career with the Mets. And my connection, and he was a pitcher. He wasn't great, but my connection to him was after his baseball career, he went into politics. He ended up being a state senator, on and on. Well, many years later, up into the 80s and 90s, he was actually he was the chairman of the board of trustees for the college that I graduated from. So when I walked across the stage and got my diploma, I shook the president of the college's hand and Wilmer Mizell's hand, and my diploma from my college has not his autograph, his signature on it. So I was telling the story about my connection to him, even though at the time I didn't know who he was. He was a guy that was connected to the college anyway. But about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months later, I get a comment saying, and Mizell has passed away many years ago now, but it said, Wilmer Mizell was my father-in-law. And I came across this video, and I just want to thank you for talking about him and his career and what he was like as a person, and not just the fact that he was just a barely average baseball player. He was so much more than that to me and to my wife, and he was thanking me for bringing this up. And I thought, thanks, Dan. Anyway, way to take the wind out of a good story. But anyway, but that was one of the most random kind of cool comments, was a thank you from actually Wilmer Mizell's son-in-law. So anyway,
That's
That's
great.
very cool. That's cool.
I've had similar experiences with so my channel started off with all those 53-second videos from the Bowman color set. That's how my channel began. I would just upload all of those. And over the years, I still from time to time will have somebody say, "Hey, that's my great grandfather," or like that was my dad's best friend, or whatever. And I'll have a brief little conversation with somebody that, just on a whim, typed in that person's name on YouTube to see if they could find something, and lo and behold, my video came up, and they leave a little message. And I think other people in the community have had similar experiences. If you make a video about a specific player, especially if that person's name is in the title, there's a good chance somebody that's connected to them could, find it someday. I've definitely had my fair share of shitty comments, but what I've noticed is most of my shitty comments are on the videos that did the best in terms of reaching out to a broader community. So like more people are watching it. And so I always sort of look at that like as the positives, like, hey, a bunch of shitty comments. I guess, the video is really taking off because it's getting a wider range of people, which just means, it's going outside of our nice, supportive, positive community, and it's reaching into the netherworld of, hate and vengeance, but it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, I think, to your guys' point, it's like when you do receive, luckily I haven't received, my channel's just not big enough, right? And I don't think I get that much reach outside the community. So luckily I haven't really had any real bad comments or anything like that. But I think, that is where they come from. And the funniest thing for me, though, is the thumbs down, right? Which again, I also believe is probably outside. And, it's like, yeah, you might get like a thumbs down per video. Not every video has a thumbs down, but it's like seeing how many views and thumbs up. And it's like, okay, I'm at 98% positive. And it's like, really? Somebody gave me a thumbs down in this video. It's like, I took all this time, right, and effort to put a video out there. And if you don't like it, like, oh, well, move on. You don't have to watch it, but to sit there and be like, yep, nope, thumbs down, that's what I find. Like, I think that's funny when people leave thumbs down.
What I find funny about that is the people that do that don't realize YouTube looks at that equally as engagement. So
Right.
you can thumbs down every video. YouTube's like, hey, this guy's getting a lot of attention. So Go
Yeah,
ahead,
that's a
thumbs
good
it
point.
down, write your crappy comments. I don't care. So
While
Yeah.
we're talking about it, guys, go ahead and give this a thumbs down and
yeah, thumbs
share
this
Card Room
thing.
Live with your friends.
Yeah, I actually believe that YouTube might prefer that, right? It becomes controversy, and that stuff kind of takes off better, right?
Yeah,
we're
true.
in a generation now where there's plenty of keyboard warriors. I haven't experienced it. Again, I'm much like Jeff. I don't think I'm big enough to go much beyond the community that we're involved with here. So I've never had a negative comment. I don't even know if I had a thumbs down. I may have. I'm gonna go back and look now. I've never looked.
You
But
do.
it
I've been
doesn't.
doing it for years.
I think that had to be you, right? It even called out your name, Drew. I thought. The reality is, I don't really care. So,
Right.
it means very, very little to me. I had a commenter who would get real specific at times and want to know specific information about me outside of the hobby, and I'm like, nah, we don't need to. You don't need to know how many kids I have and where I live and how old my kid.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to put myself out there, and I do. And now my kids are old enough where I talk about them. When they were younger, I didn't talk about them as much, but
Right.
they're adults now, so I can, I'll talk about my kids. And but yeah, I haven't experienced the negative too much. I've seen it. Mike showed me an example. Like I said, I think we were talking last week on one example on his channel that was years ago, and I'm like, my God, this is insane. So like, I had not really experienced a ton of it. So and if I do, I'll just kind of giggle, share it with you guys, and laugh, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're at the half hour mark. Let's jump into showing cards because we threatened to.
Stories?
Mike's been showing cards the whole time, but we threatened to do this last time. We didn't get to it, so let's make sure we get to it this time. The question was, I had these guys pull a handful of cards, maybe one card, maybe a few cards, that I asked them, that they wouldn't probably even own if it weren't for YouTube, if it weren't for this community, if it weren't for a video that they came across or a friend that they made. And maybe I'll add this to the question too, guys. Besides the card, is like, how has YouTube changed the way that you collect cards? Jeff, why don't we start with you?
Sure. In general, I've collected pretty much the same since I've been collecting it as an adult, right? I mean, I always was collecting Hall of Fame players, post-war rookies, and multiple times going after the 300 great baseball cards. And for the most part, I've always kind of collected the same. But I would say, for me this year or 2025, starting my channel and interacting with a lot more guys and being influenced by a lot of channels, there's probably two things here. I mean, on a literal sense, I have some cards that were gifts, right, that I could show,
Right.
that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, right? But but there's probably two things that I started this year that I would not have started otherwise if I, was not creating videos. And one is Hall of Fame autographs, right? It was always a thing. I was never really an autograph guy, to be honest. And then earlier this year, I started doing like my, a little Cubs collection that I have, and I started buying some autos from that. And I started really enjoying getting these guys autos. And I watch a bunch of other videos where there's a lot of guys, Mike and whoever else out there that are big Hall of Fame auto collectors. So I started doing that. And honestly, my first Hall of Fame auto I got was from John over at JW's Dugout. So he sent me a package with, this auto in there. And so I put it in my Mag Pro in a label, but he sent me that. And then, so that was my first one. And so since he bought me that, I bought 3 more. And
Great.
I really like the set, the Fleer Greats of the Game. It's a cool set. This is 2000. And then there's a couple I bought from 2001. And again, these are cheap. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I don't really care about like, some of the autos that are numbered, low numbers, things like that. For me, I'll take any auto, that's I'm into pack pulled autos now. You can get from a pack, right? So all of these pack pulled. And then the other thing for me this year is TTMs, through the mail autographs. I've watched videos about that for years. I've, again, always wanted to do it. Never really knew how to do it. I had a guy who really explained it to me in depth on how to do it. And so I started, sending stuff out. So again, here's just a few that I've gotten back that I sent out. But, I don't know if I should go this way, but there's Jose Canseco, O.P.Chi. There's Billy Williams I got back. And then Bill Mazeroski I got back. But just having fun with that, putting them in my channel, MagPro, labels. But I think for the most part, that's probably the two big additions to my collecting scope that I made this year, was Hall of Fame autos and TTM autos.
Great.
TTM.
It's kind of funny. Like, if you think about the MagPro thing, like, was that even a thing like 18 months ago?
Nope.
And now,
yeah.
Thank you, John Mangini, right? John.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people go, I really like that, and so
Right.
they make and it's easy to do, and it's cool. I did it for my 01 Greats of the Game set. I did the whole thing in MagPros.
Oh, nice.
And made them look like PSA labels because I'm a PSA homer and not apologetic about it. And I did, but that's something that's only. Would we all have MagPros if not for YouTube, right? At all?
No.
I wouldn't know what they were, right?
That was going to be my other thing too. Is I was literally going to say a MagPro collection that I'm doing, because for me it was actually Dylan over at Double D, right? I think I've heard about the MagPros from multiple channels, and then when Dylan went through a little stint where he was selling some cards on Whatnot, and I bought a card he had a card listed in one of his MagPros, and I was like, I want to see what those MagPros are all about. So I was the high bidder on that card on Whatnot. So I got it in the mail, and he sent me the card with his label, and I was just like, this is great. And I started playing around with it, making different, using Canva, making different labels and for different collections. And I mean, that's like my new thing is just creating different labels for different collections. So I love it.
Yeah, I'm behind on that trend. I haven't bought one MagPro yet. I've gotten them as gifts, but I have yet to buy one.
Yeah, I get it. They are expensive, but it's
they're pretty comparable to like One Touches, right? I One Touch stuff, and
they are if you buy them in bulk. Yeah,
right.
When you buy them, I think maybe it's 100 or more. I forgot what it is. You get them at like $2 each,
Right.
But when you're buying them, maybe up to like 25, they're like $4 each.
Okay.
I think, unless their prices came down, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
That's true on all supplies. Like, I would tell people, I just got 2,000 pages, right? But you don't have to buy that many to get a good discount. And then I just Google discount code BCW or whoever, and I'll find a discount code somewhere, get another 10% off or whatever. And binders, pages, MagPros, top loaders, you name it. Unless like who is it that sponsors Junk Wax Hero? Penny Sleever. Yeah. They're cheap already. Like they're and I use the code all the time, even though on your first order, on any order, like I'll save $1, and, like all these pages, you're spending so much on pages. Well, they're not that. I mean, I've got these boxes for like 14 a piece, and they're on there for $24.99 or whatever a piece. If you bought one, that's expensive.
Yep. It's the way to do it for sure if you can.
Buy in bulk. I like it. Good suggestion, Jeff.
Mike, do you have any cards sitting around that
I did
you
last
wouldn't
week.
have had without YouTube?
I did last week. I'll tell you, a lot of my I blame Blue Jacket 66 for a lot of things. But anyway, I just my 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson, I was at Strongsville 2 years ago, and I had money, and there was a Jackie there, and I flipped for it, and he was like, "You better buy this card. Like, you have to buy this card." And I cannot tell you how many times he's the worst influence because he'll just make you buy it. Some guys will be like, "Yeah, if you want to, it's a good idea." But it's so much fun to buy cards at shows with your friends, like,
Right.
because I value people's opinion. I can fall in love with something, and I really need someone to either talk me out of it, like, hey, you can find a better one, or talk me into it, like, you better buy this, like, you should, this is a great deal, or this is, you've been looking for this, really push me over the hump of actually pulling the trigger, And so I could show dozens of cards that are in my collection because someone pushed me in a very wonderful direction. Like, I'm not complaining about any of it. It's just, it's so much fun. And you always remember who you bought the card with, where you were, those stick with you, those memories. Fantastic.
Right.
Absolutely.
Jason, how about you?
Yeah, I think in the last year my shift has been pretty drastic, actually. So when I jumped onto YouTube, it was pretty much my vintage journey was golden era, 50s, 60s, 70s, and I still collect that. But I collect everything. I collect modern as well. I still collect that. But I took the pre-war plunge, and it due to influence from a lot of my friends, a lot of the guys that I'm close to within the community. And I'm gonna get Lou Rock's gonna love this, and it was the oversized pre-war plunge, right? So, like Drew jokingly said, it's got to be a standard card. I said, well, then I have nothing to show here because everything I have to show is oversized in some capacity. There's some undersized, but I didn't grab that. But yeah, so the pre-war oversized is my jam. I blame my buddies Aaron and Joe for that. I've clicked into a lot of guys. Matt, the card story, is taking a pretty drastic turn in his collection as well. He's 180 from what he used to be. So Matt and I have really, kind of clicked into our group and have shifted gears. Doug, Joe Wood Collector, is another influence on me. And those are the guys who I kind of run with a little deeper. But yeah, this was an actually gift, and I think he was on. I had mentioned on one of my videos that I need a Playing Days Lou Boudreau, and this is the 39 to 46 Salutations exhibit, and I got this from Dan at Steel City at the National. He had mentioned, or he saw the video that said where I said I need a Lou Boudreau, so he gave me that as a gift. There's stuff. I mean, this isn't here. This is non-pre-war. Sammy Thunder did a video where he had found this in a binder, hiding in a binder. He gave me first dibs on it, and I jumped on it. I think I bought it off of him. It was before Strongsville last year, but we squared up at Strongsville. We all know our good friend Mr. Petty in the community. He bought several home run derby cards, so I had an opportunity to jump on this LK line. And this set's getting crazy. So,
So
blank back.
jealous of that.
Yeah, so the opportunity just to have one is kind of like, all right, that's going to be my one possibly, because it's getting a little nutty. And then, of course, I've shown this a bazillion times and always will. Mike was on last week when we were on For Collectors as well. A little longer story, but this has got direct correlations to my buddy Aaron at Value Vintage Cards. He helped me attain my first Playing Days Babe Ruth. So,
Man, beautiful.
Yeah. So there's a few. I got others, but they're all oversized. You don't want to see all the oversized.
What a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and that's
That's a
black
whole
and white oversized garbage.
Drew, go for it.
All right. So I've got a couple cards. Both of them are centered around the same time. So in 2024, I went to the only national I've been to up in Cleveland. Super excited. I had my eye on the prize of what I was there for, what I had the money, whatever. That's not the card I'm talking about. However, while I was looking for that card, which by the way was a 1949 Leaf Ted Williams, I was walking around with Rick from Vintage Oddball Cars, and he actually found the card I ended up purchasing, which I have shown a billion times. I'm not showing that card. But in that exchange and all that time, I really got to spend some good time with Rick. And he's just such a genuine guy that you can learn so much from or whatever. Well, in that same meeting or that same year, he had a huge binder of cards he was trying to sell to raise funds for, we'll call it a Rick size card. I don't even know what he was going for, but he was selling. So I was actually sitting there looking at his binder of what was for sale. And two things was, holy crap, these cards are amazing. And every single card in there was already claimed. He had brought them to sell to the people he was going to see in person rather. And as I'm flipping through, I come to a card and I was like, oh my gosh, this card is amazing. And it was it's still coming, Rick. But the only card that wasn't already claimed, I'm like, there's no way this card isn't claimed. And this was actually before I had found the Ted Williams with him. But he told me what the price was, and I didn't want to spend the money because I was there for the Williams. And he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I won't sell this to anybody else until you either buy it or tell me you don't want it. So he literally pulled it just for me. 2 days later, not only did I find what I had, I still had the funds left over. And I went to him actually at the YouTube get together and I said, Rick, I think I want that card. He's like, I was really hoping you would get it. So we made the deal. And it's the only Cracker Jack card I've ever had or probably ever will. And it's a beaut. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite cards. It's one of those cards I never thought I would actually own a Cracker Jack, but you know, I really, oh, it'd be great if I can get one. And it's not a Hall of Famer, but he's got such a great story which connects exactly with me. And if you know me or my channel, but it's of Bert Schotten, who this is a Playing Days Bert Schotten card, who ended up being the first field manager for Jackie Robinson when Jackie broke the color barrier in 1947, and I'm all about that team. So that's one card that he held it for me. He gave it to, and the truth is, I have no idea what this card. I know what was worth to me and to Rick at that moment. He could have given me a steal or ripped me off, and I don't care either way. Well, I don't care if he ripped me off. Hopefully he's okay with the deal, but he's the one that set the price. But the point is, I don't even know what this card's valued at because I don't care about comps. But the point is, I have it in my collection because of another YouTuber I got to meet.
Sure.
The other card I want to show, which again, I've told the story 1,000 times, but still, at the same show, I'm walking around with Dom from Staven Sports Cards, and we're just walking and talking. So he and I knew each other well, but not in person. And we're just chatting and looking at cards and having that connection we've all had at shows with friends. And he casually looks in the case. He's like, "Oh, you don't ever see those," and he points down. And there was a couple of cards from a set I had never seen before, ever. And I was like, "Huh." And I didn't think much more about it. He tells me a little about the set because he's a type collector. He's got tons of knowledge. And so anyway, the show goes on. I'm like, you know what? I talk myself, I want to go find that card. 2 days later, I go look, found the dealer, and he's like, sorry, it's sold right away. Well, that just put a seed in my mind. I've got to get this card. I got to get this card. After that, I found out more and more about the set, more about the card, and that it's actually a fairly scarce card. And what happened is I put feelers out from people that I had gotten to know and stuff. And about 6 months later, early Saturday morning, I get a text from Sammy Thunder. He said, "Hey, Drew, the card you're looking for was just listed in a Heritage auction." And I'm like, no way. And, Heritage goes for 6 years before their auctions end. At least that's what it felt like. Comes to the end, I'm getting advice from people that I used to do auction houses, but it's changed a lot. I'm getting advice from people. We actually had a private watch party to see if I won it with other guys on YouTube. I ended up winning the card. The card is my 1952 Coke Tips PB Reese card.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
absolutely, like, just the best card, not the best card in my collection, but one of my absolute favorites. And it started because I was at a show with a guy who I met through YouTube, just talking life, talking cards. He points that card out to me, and all these other people kind of came around to, to be there through the whole process, to the point to where, they were even at the end when I won the auction and they're cheering me on. And I've got people, Sammy spoiled it and announced it on a live thing with Jason there last year. And so again, he was there to find the card, so I gave him a little grace on that. But before I announced it on their live cardboard and cold ones at Strongsville, he turns to Jason and says, "Hey, Drew got that PB Reese card," and Jason's like, "Is it okay if you announce that?" So anyway,
He's
I'm
much
gonna
more
say yes because
judicial
he let me
now. He's
find it.
really careful now.
But no, it's fine. It's all good. But yeah, those are two examples of cards that, because of YouTubers and because of this community that I've been a part of, that I have in my collection that I don't think I would have had otherwise.
Right.
It's an awesome set. Great card, Drew.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Real quick, I'll share a card. And this is actually a card that's already been mentioned. Everybody starts somewhere, right? When it comes to your decision to collect cards and to get into vintage. And I actually started collecting the Bowman Color set before I had a YouTube channel, before I even knew about there being a card community. I made the decision to go after that set, but I didn't really have a deep knowledge at all about vintage cards. Like, to say I even really knew about any of it would be generous. I had found the Bowman Color set. I really liked it. I was learning about it as I started collecting it. And I was probably like 10 or 15 cards in by the time I started my channel. And I started my channel just because I went on YouTube and I typed in Bowman Color just out of curiosity, would I find anything? And I found Mike, I'm sure, and I found Ray from Philly and several YouTubers that don't make videos anymore. Joey Brings It was a big Bowman Color collector.
Hall of Famer.
That's right. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to start a channel too. And I started sharing my Bowman Color cards. And anybody that remembers can tell you that was all I was collecting. In fact, like 3 or 4 videos in, I remember getting a comment from Mike, and the comment was, are you only collecting the Bowman Color set? Which was true. And like, that was my thing. It's like, oh, Alex is that guy that he's only collecting that set, which is kind of crazy. And it was. But as I was collecting it and starting to meet all these other YouTubers and watch all these other videos, I started to, you can't help it. You start learning about how vast this history is and how many different types of cards. And pre-war, holy crap, that was intimidating at the time. And, it isn't anymore, but that's just because I've spent so much time looking at it and talking about it on Card Room Live and watching other people's channels. Anyway, in the middle of building that Bowman Color set, there was only one time that I cheated and got a different card, and it was this card, which is still one of my favorite cards that I've ever gotten. But to me, this card is not just, hey, it's a great card, it's Jackie Robinson, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, it's also a little reminder of how much my knowledge grew of what's out there, and just how fun it is to be in this community and be influenced by all the awesome things that you see, that other people are collecting. It's just pretty astonishing how, your perspective on the whole thing can change so quickly.
Yeah, that's a pretty sweet cheat card. If you're going to cheat, that's the way to go. and it's funny that you called it a cheat card and what knowledge you had back then and how it was growing. I've deviated so drastically from projects that I've started. I don't know if I'll ever finish them. I think I will in time, but they're no longer a priority anymore. So now I've shifted gears. So, hey, look a chicken, look a rabbit. I just have the attention span of a gnat. So like I went from, all right, I got to do this Hall of Fame run and I've got to do this player run to now I'm diverting in entirely different directions, more becoming a type collector, type/player collector. So it shifted drastically in the last year for me, and it keeps things fresh. It's fun. You learn new things, right? It's and don't get me wrong, Golden Era is awesome. There's a ton I still want to collect and still need, but
you'll never run out of stuff that you're interested in.
Right. And in the terms of Mr. Moynihan, that's low hanging fruit now because they're out there. You can find them. So now I'm targeting other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, we have a little bit over. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say real quick. Yeah, that 49 Bowman Jackie, that is, so, I'm focused this year on the 1950s, right?
Oh, did we lose Jeff?
I think we lost Jeff. He traveled back to the 1950s.
He looks like Jeff Wilson right now.
Am I back?
There you
are. There you are. We got you.
My back. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, but real quick, if I cut out again, just move on. But that 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson. So I'm into the 50s right now, and that's where I'm focusing probably all year. This year, I cut out again, or am I still there?
You're still here. Yep.
I may have to switch to my phone. Oh, okay. But that's going to be a card for me. 49 Bowman Jackie. 2 cards prior to 1950 that I'm looking for is the 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson and the 1939 play ball Joe DiMaggio. So those are 2 cards on my short list that I want. And so if I buy anything likely prior to 1950 this year, it's going to be one or both maybe of those cards. But
those are
great
both great
card for a
goals.
cheat card. Yeah.
Those are cards where I can't wait to watch the video when it happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. Guys, we've got 10 minutes left. let's give some shout outs to newer channels. What's a relatively newer channel that you found, and maybe it's new to you, perhaps it's been around for a little while, but maybe you just recently discovered it. What's a newer channel that you want to give a shout out to? What are they doing that resonates with you? Anybody want to jump in?
I'll start. So,
Yeah.
And I'm only starting because Mike might steal it because I know he knows him personally. But I've gotten to personally know Matt from Straight Race Cards, and he's just such a good guy, and he's so sort of not just honest, but he's so intrigued by the community side and that aspect of it all. And I've had many good conversations with him on the phone. Actually, last week he was out east visiting his in-laws, and I met him for breakfast the next day after this we did this last week. And he's just such a genuine person. He's a family guy. He has his channel is just it's not just focused on baseball, but it's focused on relationships. It's focused on story. It's focused on his growth. Is focused on the community. He's just such a genuine, good guy. He's learning a ton. While he knows a lot, he's learning a lot as well. And he's just a channel I enjoy because I've gotten to know him fairly on in his journey personally, and he's as genuine as they come. And like I said, I had to steal that from Mike because Mike knew him first. So
I've known him for a long time.
I know, yeah.
He just texted me today. Like he's just awesome. I agree.
Quick shout out to Carl, who does not have a channel, but is going to have one soon.
Yes.
Get it on there.
There's also who is it? He's in the chat. Nick Chen. I think it's Nick Chen, Iowa Collector, right? So I think he just put a video out, his intro video, maybe within a week or so ago. So I watched his intro video. He's a Cubs fan, so I'm gonna keep watching his stuff. But he's from Iowa, I believe. So I saw him in the chat, so I figured I'd shout him out. I don't know if you guys know also Tyler over at 5 Cent Wax. He's a newer channel as well. Super great dude. He gets pretty personal in his videos. He shared his brother was disabled, his older brother, since birth. And his brother was a big TTMer and was a big card collector. And so Tyler started his channel after his brother passed away. And he, at the end of every one of his videos, he found his brother's collection. And so he got the bug to start collecting again as an adult. So he's doing that. And at the end of all of his videos, he's sharing his brother's collection of TTMs. But Tyler's a good dude, very, very likable. So if you guys don't know him. And then another guy, I want to shout out, third one, not a new channel as well, but I love his videos. He only puts a video out he's been around a year, maybe a year and a half. But I think last week before this video, I checked, he only had 99 subscribers. But Joe over at Pre-War Dreams, Joe's such a good dude. And him and I have, we talk outside of YouTube, looking forward to meeting him at Independence. And I just feel like, and again, he's very minimalist with how he collects. He knows what cards he wants and he targets those cards. I think he only picked up like 12 cards this year. So he's not showing a ton of cards on his videos, but every single video I watch of his, he's just interesting to listen to talk. And he's almost kind of a dreamer, right, as well, talking about the sets that he wants and what he wants to start focusing on. So I like that kind of stuff. And I feel like he deserves a little bit more love in the community. So wanted to shout out Joe at Pre-War Dreams.
Yeah, Joe's a great guy. We had him on Cardboard and Cold Ones, and I got to meet him at Strongsville last year.
Oh, I gotta go back to that then.
Yeah, I try to do this with Sammy, on Cardboard and Cold Ones. We try to bring on new people. So there are some that I feel that are under-repped. And I know I said this on last week on For Collectors. Phil Gary, who's a dealer in the community, rookie card collector 123, has an extreme amount of knowledge, just a ton of knowledge, has written books, is a dealer, works for an auction house. I mean, he's entrenched in the community. And I think if you wanted to learn about rookie cards, pre-war rookie cards, quote unquote, oddball stuff, Rookie Card Collector 123 is your guy. Phil Gary has a ton of knowledge. Trevor at Blue Collar Cards, I think he's been on this channel, if I'm not mistaken. He was on with Aaron and I. We did a Mount Rushmore as well. He's kind of entrenched himself into the community as a newer channel, and he dove in head first, and I respect that. You know, that's kind of what I did. So I want to give Trevor a shout out. And then last is Collecting America's Pastime. We had Kyle on about 2 weeks ago on Cardboard and Cold Ones.
Kyle's been around forever.
He was around and then dipped out and then came back, right? So I mean, a real unique story in comparison to most of us who, you know, like if you're mine or Mike's age, we took a break, but we never stopped collecting. We, you know, I mean, he literally sold his collection, dipped out, came back in, and now is in hard and heavy again, and collects a lot like I collect and my friends collect. So Collecting America's Pastime, Kyle, is a great channel as well.
Kyle is amazing guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to check them out.
For me, first of all, Ruben Snyder, he's a commenter Hall of Famer. He just put his first video out yesterday.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Ruben,
Really?
holding out on us.
Check out Ruben. Maybe Scott can be a genius there and put the link in the chat there. He's doing a good job throwing people out there.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, Scott. I'm going through my subscription list, which is, by the way, like 400 and I think I'm at 450 plus channels that I'm subscribed to. And help me remember, guys. There's a guy that played minor league baseball, and he has the coolest vintage wall, and he's collecting cards. And do y'all know who I'm talking about? Hold on.
I do not.
Sounds good.
He doesn't have the Wheaties wall, does he? There's someone with a cool.
Oh, yeah, the Wheaties wall guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a video recent. I'm kind of going through my feed to see if I can find his last video. Oh, this isn't most recent. Hold on. I'm getting videos from a year ago. It's like, no, I don't need
Oh, there is one more I'd like to shout out. There's a guy called Matt at The Card Story.
Oh,
Let's
I've heard
just
of him.
promote.
Yeah.
Let's just promote him to make a video.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Just
would
make
be
a video.
Hey, that's a part 3. All the people that should be making videos that aren't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's
Matt?
guys like there's so many guys like that, right? That you go, dude, like Josh, rated rookie.
Right.
I mean, he's got top 10 collection on YouTube. Like, it's that good. And he's had a lot of personal issues, but he was in Palisades, you know, when the fire happened.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he just got like, he texts me and Vince and Joe, and like he's got some amazing stuff lately. And I'm like, dude, do some videos. Chris, Hall of Fame Pullers, was his channel. God, he's got to do videos. He sends me stuff. That's the thing. I get all these private messages. I'm like, dude, this is awesome, but share it with the world.
Right. Get it out there. Right.
Let everybody see this stuff. If it's anything. Oh, I found him. Dugout to Cardboard.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Dugout to Cardboard.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this back tomorrow and get all these. Start subscribing to everybody that everybody mentioned here.
What is Ruben's channel?
I think it's just Ruben Snyder, but
Okay.
Oh, here we go, guys. Here's the announcement. He'll be back soon. It's like James Bond will return.
He's gonna do
Whatever.
his 2024 recap from the National.
Yeah, he's got to open his mail first. Don't. I love you, Matt, but come on.
I'll put the Dugout to Cardboard.
Yeah, I just subbed up to him.
Nice.
Oh, he got it. Scott got it.
Scott's
Cool.
a ninja.
Find Ruben. He should be in here. I'm shocked he's not in here.
He usually is. Yeah. He's busy making a video right
I was
now.
going to
Right,
say, he's
right.
making number 2.
You know how I'll find him? I'm going to go look at my comment. He's one of my Hall of Fame commenters. I can go find one of his comments that I didn't respond to, which is very possible. Dude,
All right, guys, we're hitting the 9 o'clock mark, so time to wrap it up. Again, want to thank Jason, Drew, Mike, and Jeff for jumping on and talking about this. Thanks, guys.
Part 3
First
next
sequel.
week.
I appreciate
Part
it.
3 next week. We'll see.
Part 3, part 4. We could keep going. Until next Sunday night, thanks for joining in, guys. If you enjoyed this live stream, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we'll see you next Sunday night. Go join For Collectors. Until next time, the bar is closed. Good night, everybody.
Night.